Welcome into Hockey Sense, everybody. Great to have you with us. As always, our summer tradition continues. Live from Half Coast Studios, brought to you by First Community. As always, firstcommunity.com. Check out First Community for all your banking needs and do it today. They've got some great stuff. We might as well get right into it with First Community. I mean, what are we going to wait for? And no reason to wait. That's why you shouldn't wait either for your banking needs. Foreign currency exchange. Now, this is interesting. I bring this up because they have the European media tour going on right now in the NHL. So, is anybody traveling in the fall? Anybody out there going to Europe in the fall? Listen up. And not even Europe, but anywhere internationally. And a lot of our Canadian listeners may be coming here. You just never know. Because apparently it's like this affects a lot of people. Because the recent polling shows Americans remain committed to travel. They haven't stopped traveling. Over 3/4 planning trips this year despite economic uncertainty. So it hasn't stopped people from going on vacation or holiday, as they call it in other countries. So if you're one of those people planning to travel abroad, you're going to need some cash. And First Community offers foreign currency exchange at all their community branch locations. So other than the Walmart locations, you can't go to the Walmart locations. You go to the branch locations. You come in one day for a small fee. I mean, you order your currency and you can come back in a few days and pick it up. So that's pretty easy. So the service is exclusive for their members. However, by opening an account, it's pretty sweet. So as long as you qualify, this is a service that it's exclusive for members as long as you qualify. So be a member. Open an account. It's a great option. And for a list of those branches, you can go online to firstcommunity.com. So do that today. Blue Note Roofing, you see the sign right here, 314-920-5713. I think it's self-explanatory. Call David Novak and do it today. David Novak. Do that today. We'll talk about cross-country mortgage later on in the show as well. Looking forward to talking about my boy Mark Cooper, 314-713-4377. Lordo's Diamonds. All the great sponsors that we have here on Hockey Sense, Frontenac Detailing. Also, hey, I'll throw this out there too, because security is so important, and you want to make sure you're taken care of. I don't care where you live. You may say you live in the nicest neighborhood in town, no matter where you're listening, and you don't need security. But I'll tell you what, man, you don't need it until you do. And especially for those of you who are traveling, you're leaving your kids, you're leaving your wife. Hackett Security, man, they are nationwide. They've got offices all over the place, from D.C., Virginia, Arizona, everywhere. 314-432-4200. That's the phone number for Hackett Security. 314-432-4200. Hackett Security, they are like the leader when it comes to security in the United States. I mean, commercial buildings, government buildings, residential, whatever it is. Check out Hackett Security and do it again. Do it today. 314-432-4200. We've got you taken care of on everything here on Hockey Sense. And now we got to educate the, I don't want to say educate the NHL Network people, because I think they did a pretty good list. Have you seen the list they put together of the top centers in the National Hockey League? I mean, it's hard to argue with the first few, although I did NHL Network the other day, and they weren't happy with the fact that Austin Matthews was picked 7th. You do have to understand, when they do these lists and they compile these names, I think it is based on the previous year, right? It's based on the previous year. So, and the case for Austin Matthews, we all know that he wasn't healthy last season. He's 2 years removed from scoring 69 goals. So can I understand why you feel like maybe he was down further the list than maybe you would have expected? I mean, when you look at McDavid, McKinnon, Draisaitl, Barkov, Crosby, do you have an issue with any of those names in the top 5? Could you say Matthews belongs ahead of Crosby at this stage of his career? You can make a case for that, and I would have no problem with it. They have Jack Eichel ahead of Austin Matthews. So, I mean, I'd take any of these guys, honestly. And the only one that I wouldn't take over Matthews would maybe be Crosby, just simply because of age, if we're talking about bringing the player on your team. But Barkov's just coming off of back-to-back Stanley Cups. He still doesn't get the respect, in my opinion. And you can't go wrong with the top three with McDavid, McKinnon, and Draisaitl, can you? No. Put Barkov fourth. He belongs there. I think Barkov is a top 5 player in the league. Eichel, I don't have a problem with him being ahead of Matthews based off of last season's. Braden Point had a fantastic season. You can make an argument he had a better year than Austin Matthews last year. Scheifele had a great year. Nick Suzuki put up 89 points, which was a career high. And then you get to Robert Thomas. So Suzuki comes in at 10, or actually Jack Hughes came in at 11th. I don't know how you could say he had a better year than Robert Thomas, or he's a better player than Robert Thomas, honestly, with the injuries that he's dealt with. Thomas, for those of you who don't know, this guy over a 25-game stretch, which is a third of the season essentially, he led the NHL in scoring. He was arguably the top center in the league down the stretch after that Four Nations tournament. He just came back and he was on absolute fire, leading a team that obviously took a charge to get to the playoffs. We've got some great interviews coming up on Cam and Strick. You're going to hear Dylan Holloway coming out on Tuesday, and he talks about how the players were discussing amongst themselves coming out of the Four Nations. I think they had 24 games left, and they were like, listen, we got to win 19 of these if we're going to get into the playoffs. And then they did it. And who was the best player from the Four Nations on? It was Robert Thomas. He was absolutely incredible for the Blues. And they had a lot of guys who were playing at a high level. A number of defensemen. Cam Fowler was obviously playing great. Broberg was playing great. Kyrou had some great moments. The fourth line really came together. We're going to have Nathan Walker on this edition of Hockey Sense, brought to you by First Community. And Nathan Walker has become a catalyst on this team. I mean, he is a fixture on this team. I was going through his career, and it's interesting. You just go back to 2017, 2018. That was the year that he played his first ever career game, NHL game. And, he's going to be 32 years of age this season. He's played just over 200 games in his career. Like, he's just scratching the surface in terms of games played. I don't know what his resume is going to look like when it's all said and done, when he hangs it up and retires several years down the road. But I wonder if this season is the most comfortable he's ever felt coming into a season in his career, or can you never feel comfortable? We're going to ask him that, but last year he played a career-high 73 games. He had never played more than 56 in his career, and every year he pretty much has played more and more games, although 56 2 years ago, the season before this past year, I think he was at 40-something, and then 73, a career high. He tied for the team lead in playoff goals with Kyrou and Buchnevich. Each of them had 3. He had 8 goals during the regular season. I'm just a huge fan of Nathan Walker, and of course he went viral during our post-game interview when he said he dropped an F-bomb on live television. I never know how to handle that, by the way, especially if I'm the one doing the interview. I think that may be the first time that's ever happened to me on television, that a player dropped an F-bomb. I think players maybe have cussed here and there, but on live TV, I don't know if that's happened where a player has dropped an F-bomb. So I guess I should apologize to everybody at home, but I don't think people had any issue with it, man. The crowd was as loud as I'd ever heard it. That's why I love doing those interviews on the bench after the game. I mean, when you get a playoff crowd, and I will say the Blues playoff crowd was as good as any crowd in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And, unfortunately, it ended after the first round, but they were so loud in that Winnipeg series, and you just look at the scores on home ice. I think the fans had a lot to do with that. But I'm looking forward to talking with Nathan Walker. The job he did last year with Faksa and Toropchenko, they were spectacular. And, Faksa goes back to Dallas. He chased the money. This guy was making like over $3 million or whatever it was last year on a multi-year deal he had originally signed with Dallas, and now he goes back there, chase the money. I think Dallas realized, okay, this guy's good. We need to be more physical. We need to get heavier. That was an issue for the Dallas Stars last year in the playoffs. They let him go, and they said, okay, that was probably a mistake. We need to bring him back, and they were able to get him back. But I would have loved to keep Foxy here. Nick Bjugstad, by the way, who's going to kind of fill in and slide into that spot, who's huge. I mean, just a massive, massive player. I think the coaching staff, he's here now. He's in St. Louis. He's been skating. We got to get him on, and we will. But he I think he's made a positive impression so far. Logan Mailloux is here too. And let me just say this. I was talking to a couple of the coaches and a few of the guys, and I'll ask Nathan Walker. This guy is just like, I mean, when the coaching staff, when their eyes widen when you bring up his name and they're like, damn, like this guy's skating, man, his size. He's hardly played any games in the NHL. I think fans are going to look back at this trade and be really surprised in terms of how it plays out. Now, hopefully it plays out favorably for Montreal too, because I like Zach Bolduc. I want him to have success, and hopefully he goes on and has a great career there in Montreal. And there's no reason to assume that he won't. But the Blues needed a right shot defenseman. Coming into training camp, those were the two issues. They needed a right shot D. They needed to improve their depth up the middle. And not just depth. I think they were looking for a second line center. Whether they found that or not in Pius Suter, I don't know. Whether or not that's Dalibor Dvorsky, I don't know. I think it will be Dalibor Dvorsky, but whether or not that happens this season or coming out of training camp, I guess remains to be seen. I know people are starting to get a little bit impatient because they see a guy like Dvorsky. Okay, he's drafted 10th overall. They see Lindstein. They see Stenberg. They see these guys who are first-round picks. Well, they should automatically be in the NHL. And, yeah, you see some teams do that. But when you have a roster the way the Blues have their roster right now, I just don't think you plug in a bunch of 18-year-olds. But I will say this, and I mean this, that's what training camp is for. Just because you're drafted in the first round, and, in the case of Stenberg, he came over, he played some games in the NHL last season, not in the NHL, but in the American League last season. Lindstein's coming over for the first time this year. I mean, we may see all three of these guys play games this season, and who knows? By the time they get up here, who knows? Maybe they stick and maybe they don't go back down. But I think you just kind of have to let it play out in preseason. That's their opportunity to make the team. And I will say this, I think the coaching staff, as well as management, certainly with Doug Armstrong and Alexander Steen, I think they're going into training camp with an open mind with all of these kids. If they push somebody out, then so be it. If they show they belong, they will be here. If they do what's necessary to make the team out of training camp, there's spots available, even though it looks like it's a crowded field, which it is. They're not shutting the door on any of these guys. You come in and you do what you need to do and show that you can help this team win from day one, they'll make the team. So I don't think they're coming into camp and saying this guy is automatically going to be in the American League. Now, listen, they have guys slotted in specific areas and specific spots. And, one guy may be slotted as an American League player. So he would have to certainly exceed expectations and play his way onto the NHL roster. But what I'm trying to say is that it's not impossible to do, and you can certainly do that. So again, let's get to training camp. Let's see how these guys look, and then let's see what they bring to the table come preseason, when they start playing some preseason games, because that's when it really matters. By the way, the 11 through 20 list of centers in the NHL, we mentioned the top 10. So Jack Hughes comes in at 11, then Robert Thomas comes in at 12. Thomas missed a handful of games, if you remember. He only played, 70, 72 games, something like that last season. Still finished with over 80 points, back-to-back seasons with over 80 points. I think if this guy stays healthy, there's no reason why he can't certainly get to 90 and even flirt with 100. And he's going to be motivated that first half of the season. He's at the Canadian orientation camp now, and he's looking to earn a spot on that roster. So he's going to have some extra motivation, not only to lead this team back to the Stanley Cup playoffs and compete for a top 3 spot in a very competitive Central Division, but also find his way onto the Canadian Olympic team. I think he's going to make the team. I really do. I've said that all along. Thomas can kill penalties, and he can do a variety of different things that I think you would be looking for guys like him, who are probably at the bottom side of the roster versus the top end of the roster. And again, that's nothing to be ashamed of when you're at the bottom side of the Canadian Olympic roster. Are you kidding me? I mean, you know how good you have to be, obviously, to make that team. So 13, Sebastian Aho. 14, Nico Hischier. 15, Tim Stützle. from Ottawa, 17 Rupe Hentz from Dallas, 18 Tage Thompson, 19 Macklin Celebrini. I love how this guy already comes into the top 20. He's another guy to pay attention to. I said it last year. Could he make the team? Sure. Could he make the Canadian Olympic team? Yes, he could. I don't see Connor Bedard on this list, by the way, but I see Celebrini. Sam Bennett rounding out your top 20. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a impressive list of centers. So you got Robert Thomas at 12. You got Sam Bennett at 20. I don't get too caught up in it. But I did NHL Network the other day, and it was a big focal point of our conversation. A lot of talk about it. We mentioned First Community. We mentioned Blue Note Roofing. How about our friends over there with Cross Country Mortgage? Mark Cooper. Again, 314-713-4377. I love the loans for the first responders. $525,000. Put that number into your head. That is because they cover first responders that up to $525,000 who are either injured, seriously injured, or killed in the line of duty. I think that is just a remarkable program that Cross Country Mortgage does. It's amazing. Loans for doctors up to $1 million with zero down and no PMI. Now, they're taking care of the first responders and the doctors. They've got the Bye-Bye PMI loan with a 740 or better credit score. We waive the PMI requirements with 15% down or 15% equity. So anyone who's purchased a home with 5 to 10% down in the past 2 years, 5 to 10% down in the last 2 years, should look into this option. It can save you hundreds of dollars monthly. And they service virtually every loan they close. And they offer loans in all 50 states, too. So remember that with Cross Country Mortgage. Again, Mark Cooper, call him today, 314-713-4377, baby. All right, Nathan Walker. I can't wait for this conversation. Can't wait for the season coming up. What a year he had last year. The man from down under, from Australia, Nathan Walker, joins us next here on Hockey Sense, brought to you by First Community. Don't go anywhere. All right, the man from down under, the one and only Nathan Walker. Thanks, man, for doing this. We appreciate it as always. Were you in Australia all summer? Like, what are you doing during the off season?
Yeah, we went home. We hung around here for a few weeks after the season was done, and then headed on back down under for the summer.
Do people come up to you? Do they recognize you? Do they say, "Hey, you're the hockey player"? I mean, are you a big deal over there, Nathan? Come on, don't be shy now. Let us know what's going on in Australia.
Within the hockey community, yeah, it's you can definitely walk into a rink and people will recognize you. But as for being out in public on the street, you don't really get recognized too much, just apart from a select few people who might have a little bit of hockey knowledge. But other than that, you're pretty much non-recognizable as an athlete down there.
There you go. Sometimes it's nice that way, though, isn't it? You'd rather have it that way?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of nice. You get to go out with your kids and your buddies and stuff, and not have to do anything. But at the same time, it's always nice to get recognized for the things that you can do.
Do you have citizenship of any other countries? You've lived in so many different countries. Are you a citizen of just Australia, or do you have citizenship elsewhere too?
Yeah, actually, I have a British citizenship. My parents were born over there. I was actually born there too. But yeah, I have a British citizenship.
So if you wanted to play in the Olympics, like there's no option for you to play in the Olympics then, I guess, right? I don't think that Great Britain has a team, right? And Australia doesn't have a hockey team, so you can't play in the Olympics. Is that the deal?
We actually, both Great Britain and Australia do have hockey teams. They're not in the top divisions, obviously, but I think Australians in like Division 2B or so, and I think Great Britain kind of teeter between that top division and Division 1A. So they both have national teams, but they're just not in the Olympics this year, unfortunately.
Yeah, that makes sense. Have you ever played with either country in an international competition?
Yeah, I played for Australia twice in Division 2B and 2A, and 2A and 1B, I think it was.
Do you skate over there during the summer? Are there guys to skate with if you want to get on the ice?
Yeah, I would usually skate with the Sydney Ice Dogs team. That is the local team that I kind of grew up watching and playing. So I usually skate with them. But their rink was actually getting renovated this year, so there wasn't much ice in terms for myself to be able to get out. But I did manage to get on the ice. There was a rink that gave me an hour here and there, which was really good. Kind of heading into coming back over here.
Nice. Any up and coming players from there? Like, do you see like players who can actually like who can really play? Who you say like, do you go up to them and be like, listen, you should look at like going to play at a higher level and like you can play.
Yeah, there's definitely some good talent there. There are a number of kids kind of heading that way and kind of trying to follow that footpath that I did. They are heading overseas and they go back home and they play hockey there during the winter months in Australia. So they're kind of playing hockey 12 months out of the year, which is great for their development. And it's good to see that kids in Australia want to get better at hockey and want to take that next step and go overseas.
You got a lot of hockey ahead of you, but have you ever thought about what you want to do after hockey? Like, would you want to get involved with Australian hockey? Like, would you want to coach over here in North America? Like, do you want to stay in the game? What would you want to do down the road, Nathan? What do you see yourself doing?
I'll be honest with you, haven't really given it much thought. I think to try and imagine a life without any sort of hockey would be really difficult. So, I would obviously love to stay within the game, whether it is anything from coaching to broadcasting to anything, just anything that can kind of keep me around the rink and, keep me involved in hockey to some capacity.
Settle down trying to take you trying to take my job now. I mean, come on now. Now you want me to be a broadcaster, although you be damn good at it. And
no, I'm not saying that. I don't want to take anyone's job.
no, but you're going to have a lot of options. There's no doubt. But you got a long time to worry about that because you have so much hockey ahead of you. I'm curious if you've ever felt comfortable entering a training camp, and where is your mindset entering camp this year, coming off of a season where you played 73 games, Nathan. You had your best career, or best season of your career. I mean, you've come so far as an NHL player. Are you still looking at the guys behind you and being like, hey, listen, I got to go out and camp and I got to take care of business?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's training camp's going to be tough. It's going to be fast paced. I've never had that mindset of coming into really anything. Even when I was, even when I would get sent down the AHL, I never really took that easy too. I think training camp kind of sets a benchmark for the whole season, and you want to hit the ground running and never really think that you're too comfortable in any position, and just kind of go out and take what you need. But yeah, there's obviously some great kids in this organization and great players, and you want to be able to do what you can do and do the best you can and your abilities and everything. So no, I definitely don't have that comfortability feeling. I never have. I don't think I ever will. I'll always just go out there and always think that there's always going to be someone that wants to take a job from someone.
Yeah, and that's the right mindset to have, man, because that's going to drive you. There's no doubt. You got to have that competitive edge. You got to keep that. I was looking at your career like a couple days ago, like, and I don't have it in front of me, but I want to say like 2017, 2018. That's when you played your first NHL games, and you played 3 games here, 9 games here, 10 games here. Then you get to 30 games. Then you get to 56 games. And a couple years ago, I think you were down to 40 something. And then last year you get to 73. So where have you come along the furthest? What's improved the most in terms of your game that's allowed you to now, be a guy that's not just in the lineup, but has become a true impactful NHL hockey player?
I honestly just think consistency. I think, the big thing was early in my career was, maybe I could play 10 good games here and then 5 not so good. And then maybe, 5 really good and then 5 average. And it was kind of always teetering. I'd always go out there and I feel like I'd work hard, but just the little details I think I was maybe missing. And I think over the last 2 to 3 years, I've kind of knuckled down on that and just become a little bit more consistent within my own game, I think.
You're such a great skater. And I know everyone focuses on your physicality and your aggressiveness and how hard you work, man. But your skating is so strong. How much do you work on that? And has that always been the strength of your game?
Yeah, I believe so. I played rugby back in the day when I was real little. So I think kind of digging into the ice and the ground, I think kind of have the same sort of concept, if you will. Obviously, running and skating a little bit different, but I think just having that aggressive push, definitely helped my skating. And like I said before, I think if you're willing to put the work in, kind of early on in your career, I think it definitely will pay off at some point.
That's interesting that the rugby could actually improve your skating and how only you would know that, Nathan. You know what I mean? That would be able to compare rugby to hockey, and see how the two sports could come together. But it's interesting that you say that. How far did you go in rugby? Like, could you have been a professional rugby player?
Well, I mean, there's so many rugby players back home. But it did get to a point where I had to choose between rugby and hockey. I was coming back from overseas, coming home, playing rugby, taking a spot off someone who's, kind of been there all year, done the training camp. And it got to a point where the coach kind of came up to me and he's like, Nathan, listen, you can't keep coming in for 10 weeks of the year and taking someone's spot. You need to pick, like, do you want to be here full time or you want to play hockey? And I just looked at him straight in the eye. I'm like, yeah, I won't be here full time. Sorry, that's hockey's for me.
Yeah. How'd you fall in love with hockey though? Like, and how old were you when you truly fell in love with it? And were your parents hockey people at all? I feel like we've had this conversation before, but sometimes I forget. Like, were they like, what is going on here? Why do you love this game so much? Because it's so rare, man. I mean, I don't know when we'll see the next kid to come out of Australia. We haven't really seen much of this in the past. So how did you fall in love with the game and then maintain that passion for it?
I think the biggest thing was my brother and I, we were really big into roller hockey. Back in the early 2000s, the roller hockey back home, the roller hockey scene was huge. I think that's when that pro beach roller hockey tournament or the league was going on.
With the big ramp behind the goal, you know?
Yeah, so that was really big back home. So we got into roller hockey then. I would have been about 4 or 5, and I was just ripping up and down the rink. And when my brother was playing, I was off the rink ripping up and down, knocking over trash cans, doing all that stuff. And then the roller hockey scene kind of died down a bit. So then we looked into ice hockey, and then as soon as we found the ice hockey rink, it was like, boom, this is it. We fell in love with it, and we just kind of roll with it from there.
That happens, man. When's the last time you put the rollerblades on?
This summer. It's because there's no ice. There's not much ice back home. I do a lot of training with my rollerblades. Take my kids out. Go and skate some hills, up and down the hills every now and then, and that's pretty much how I try and keep my skating fitness up during the summertime.
With a stick or without a stick?
With a stick. With a stick and gloves. I do get some crazy looks up and down the street, but at the end of the day, you got to do what you got to do, right?
Are you taking like a little green biscuit with you, a hockey ball? Like, what are you stick handling when you're skating up and down these hills?
No, I'm not taking a puck. No, just no puck, just straight up and down.
I love it, man. I love it. How hot is it in the summer there?
It's not too hot. It'd be like 60, 65 probably.
Okay.
Around that, I'd say.
Well, you came into St. Louis at the perfect time. It was so hot here, man, all summer up until last week.
The first couple of days we got back was boiling. It was like 105 or something, I think, those couple of days. But
yeah.
Since then, it's been pretty good.
Yeah, you were here for that. How much fun did you have last season?
That was unreal. Obviously that streak that we went on to, I think, you ask any guys the best part of the season, that was probably it, making our push for the playoffs, and then obviously getting a chance to play in the playoffs is really exciting. So that was some of the most fun I've ever had playing hockey. And then even just talking to some of the guys now who are back in St. Louis, just saying how excited we are about this year, and how much we know we're capable of, and what we're able to do. And I think it's going to be a really exciting season for the Blues this year.
Yeah, you and Toropchenko. I mean, Radek Faksa was a huge part of it too. It's too bad that he didn't come back. So you're going to lose him. You got Nick Bjugstad here. I hear he's in town right now. Have you had a chance to see him skate? What are your thoughts on him? And if he's on a line with you and Torpo, how do you see him kind of replacing a guy like Faksa?
Yeah, he's great. Had the opportunity to skate with him for a week or so. But he's unreal. We seem to get along off the ice really well too. But yeah, he can move. He's got a great shot. He's got great hands in tight. It's gonna be fun. If I get a chance to play with him and Torpo, it's gonna be one hell of a line for sure.
Yeah. Are you taller than him, Nathan?
If I had a few chairs and a couple boxes to stand on, possibly, yeah.
He's a big boy, isn't he?
He's massive, yeah. Him and Torpo, it's going to be funny standing next to him. But
who's taller between the two? Who's bigger between the two?
I think Bugie would be a little bit bigger, honestly.
Yeah, I think so too. What about Logan Mailloux? And I know, Bolduc obviously had a great, season last year, especially after Monty got here, but you can't get your hands on players like him at his age, right shot defensemen who are as big as he is, who skate the way that he does. Have you had a chance to get to know him? I hear he's in town right now too, and I know Blues fans are interested to get some some opinions and some feedback as to how he looks right now.
Yeah, he looks really good. We skated with him a few times. He's got great hands again. Big shot, great skater. Obviously we haven't done too much. We're just doing summer skates so far, so it's kind of tough to tell. But Yeah, he's got a great shot. He can skate really well, good hands. He's gonna be really fun to watch for sure.
All right, so what is the plan? Like, how do you ramp it up? I mean, it's August still. We're almost into September. So you guys just going out there just doing some light skating, just kind of playing some shinny and then doing some power skating on the side with the skating coach? Like, what is your day-to-day routine right now as you ramp it up as we get closer to September?
Yeah, we're slowly, like you said, we're slowly ramping it up. We'll do a little bit of skill stuff in the beginning of the skate, and then get a little bit of skating, see a bit more skating involved into a bit more shooting. And then we usually end with a little competitiveness, a little game, a little 2-on-2, 3-on-3 or something. But other than that, it's that's pretty much it. And then as more guys filter in, I think the skates get a little bit more competitive.
Nathan, I got to ask you this because I don't want to ask you once I come to the rink and we start thinking about next season. But last year with the way the playoffs ended, being 1 second away from getting to the second round, take me through the locker room, what it was like when that game ended, following the overtime, being on the plane, coming back to St. Louis, and how long did it take you to get over it? And what were those conversations like between you and your teammates?
Uh, I mean, it's obviously tough. You know, you work so hard to push the team that just finished the best in the regular season to pretty much to the brink of it, and you fall a little short. But at the end of the day, that's sports for you. That's hockey. Unfortunately, things like that are going to happen in this game, and it was definitely a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, but can you look back and appreciate what you guys accomplished? Because I think it was who was I talking to? I think Dylan Holloway a few days ago, who was, I think, coming out of the Four Nations. He said something like, "Hey, I think we had 24 games left," and I think he was talking to his teammates. He said, "We got to win like 19 of these games," and you guys go out there and basically do it, and you get into the playoffs. What was the mindset coming out of Four Nations? When did you start thinking about the playoffs, or was that not really discussed? It was just basically taking it game by game.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think we all knew what we had to do, and I think honestly, it was just a game by game. You win one, all right, right. Start on the right foot. You win two, you win five, and you're thinking, all right, let's keep this thing going. Next thing you know, you're up to 8, and then 9, 10, and then you're stringing them together, and then you kind of see in the standings, you see this jump up a bit, and then you kind of realize what we have in this room and how good of a team we are, and I think at that point, we obviously knew we just got to keep going here, and then we have a real shot at making the playoffs.
What excites you the most about this team and this season, and what's it going to take for this team to be better than what we saw the second half of last year?
I think the thing that excites me the most is us realizing how good of a team we are. I think we definitely showed it last year, obviously with that stretch and in the playoffs, and it's going to be fun this year to be able to build off what we were able to accomplish last year.
Yeah, and the best part about it, I don't even think like people realize around the league just how confident you guys are and how good you guys are, and even what you guys did the second half of last season. Braden Shen coming back. I mean, there's always like things, and there's no reason to assume that he wouldn't, but there's always some rumors coming around. But I love talking to players. Everyone has their own relationship with him, but he just seems like such a great captain, Nathan, and impacts each individual player differently. I'm just curious how he's impacted you and your family the most.
Yeah, I mean, besides the on ice stuff, off the ice, he wants to make sure everyone's looked after. If anyone needs help with anything, he's always there to help, and he puts his hand up. So that's that just shows how good of a captain he is off the ice. And then on the ice, he's a captain you want to play for and you want to work for. He's always out there doing extra stuff with us. So he's definitely a guy that you want to go to battle for. The way he plays, the way he holds himself, he's definitely a true captain, and definitely a captain I think that a lot of us on this team look up to.
Listen, there's always a couple of guys, even from my position, who I look at and I say, "Wow, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do this season, coming off of really just scratching the surface last year." And I look at guys like Broberg, I look at Holloway, who were such big pieces to your team last season. Anybody for you who you think like is ready to break out, who you think is maybe people are overlooking a little bit, and you believe is just scratching the surface and has so much talent they're not even close to reaching their ceiling yet?
Yeah, I mean, obviously watching Snuggie, I think for the whole season will be exciting. I mean, you could see what he was able to do for the last little bit of the regular season and playoffs, so I think that's going to be exciting to watch. And then it was unfortunate with Holly. without him playing the last few games in playoffs as well. So he'll be excited to, I think, get back on the ice and play some games. So it'll be exciting to watch those guys. And then I just think the whole team as a whole, I think, is going to be exciting to watch.
What's it like playing for Monty? What's your relationship like with him? And Otter. We'll throw in Otter too.
Yeah, it's great. All the coaches are really good. They're really good at communicating. Getting a message through on what they want from us. And if there is any problems, we can always approach them, and they're very approachable people. And they're just they're really good at what they do.
Yeah, Mikey Weber too. And I throw in Otter only because he primarily works with the forwards also, so along with Monty. So I'm looking forward to it. How's the body feel, man? Anything you do anything different this offseason? Anything change? Give me something interesting about Nathan Walker.
The body feels good. Feel like I'm 26 again, so it's
that's your number,
is,
buddy. That's your number. That's your lucky number.
yeah. So no, I feel really good heading into this year's camp. Nothing's really changed. Just just the same kind of training, the off-season training I've been doing. So it's been good. I feel good. I'm ready for a good camp and ready for a good year.
Do you have a guy you work with in Australia, a trainer that you're working with? Like, what kind of workouts are you doing during the summer?
I just work out by myself. I don't really have any trainers back home. I just coordinate here with Podes, and then kind of figure out what can I do to kind of help me through my game and get me ready and prepared for a big year ahead.
Is your diet different here in the United States versus Australia? Like, do you eat the same foods in Australia that you would eat here during the season, or completely different?
It's pretty similar. Yeah, I would like to say the food's probably a little bit better back home. I'm a big foodie, so I love eating good food. But I think the food back home is a little bit better back in Australia.
You went viral when we had our post-game interview when you dropped the F-bomb last year. Your teammates give you any trouble about that? Were they laughing about that after the playoff game?
Yeah, they were chopping about that. That's just the emotion. The emotion's coming out, I think.
Just real emotion, and I love real emotion. The fans love it too, and they love you, Nathan. So, looking forward to seeing you in a few weeks, man. When camp gets started, maybe I'll see you before that. But looking forward to another great year from number 26 as well, man. Thanks for doing this, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Thanks, buddy. All right, Jamal Mayers now joining us here in studio. I kicked off the show. We were talking about and listen, it's individual opinions. I've got no problem with it. I'm not chirping anybody because these are not an exact science. Everyone puts out their top 20 list and stuff like that.
And we're talking about it.
And we are talking about it. So it's great to talk about. But, it's hard to argue with, like, the top centers in the NHL. I think it's pretty easy to do, and you would know that. With McDavid and McKinnon and Draisaitl, Barkov. I've got no problem with the top four. I don't even have a problem with Sidney Crosby being fifth right now. You know what I mean? It's not like who you would take on your team. Crosby's an aging player. I'd probably take a number of guys ahead of him just because he's a little bit older. Eichel at 6. Now, I go on NHL Network the other day. There's a lot of talk about Matthews being 7th. And I'm like, well, just based on last season, I mean, who are you putting him ahead of? Now, if you were starting a franchise, that's a completely different story. So just based on that top 5, 6, or 7 all the way to Austin Matthews, you've got no problem with that, do you?
No, I don't. I think you could interchange a bunch of those guys. And I think there's a little bit of a recency bias, right? You look
Correct.
at Matthews having injured. If this was done a year ago, he'd be in the top 3. He had 69 goals, right? So I think that it gets a little bit skewed, but you have to it's hard to do these without factoring in the last 5 years. And I think that's why you see yourself putting in Crosby. It's really the body of work. It's not necessarily him having a fantastic year last year. What I think is a guy that probably could inch into the top 3. Maybe he's 4. I don't know where you've got him there.
Who's this?
Is Jack Eichel.
Oh, Eichel,
He just watching him, if you watch him, he affects the game way more than I really appreciaed.
Defensively, he's physical, like leans on guys, long stick. Does he have the longest stride in the league? Like he's so fast, but he doesn't look like he's going as fast as like a Braden Point. You know what I'm saying? When Point's like, he's just got these long strides that cover so much ice.
Just a gazelle. He's a gazelle out there in the way he covers ice, and such a smart player. And what's interesting to me is, like, when you dig into some of these guys, and there's a reason why they remain at the top. Just listening to him recently, he's always trying to get better, always trying to add things to his game.
He's a
always,
great guy, man.
And like, I didn't really, when he was in Buffalo, I think he was miscast. I think giving him the captaincy was probably a little premature. Myself included, thought, is that even a leader?
Yeah.
And then you're realizing now, like, he is a leader. He is a guy that you could follow, and he is a guy that, you know, sets the tone. And you talk about culture, and sometimes we overuse that word. And what I like to say is culture are the habits that you do every day. So when you walk into a dressing room, let's say, for example, and you walk into the locker room of San Jose Sharks and the best players are getting on the ice 20 minutes early, that's the culture. They've created the culture. It's their daily habits that create culture.
I said this on our Cam and Strick podcast. I think Ryan O'Reilly, he's left that behind when he left here. It's like his impact is still being felt today with guys like Shen kind of carried that on. But Kyrou and Holloway are the last two guys on the ice every single day. And we just had an interview we're going to drop with Holloway, and he said, if I can spend 10 extra minutes on the ice every practice throughout the course of the year, that's a lot of time over the course of the year. But then the coaches tell me they leave the ice and then they go into the shooting room. You know what I mean?
Right.
Inside. Like, they don't stop. So, but to your point, I had lots of conversations with him about Eichel when he was here, and he would always go to bat for him. He was like, the reputation he has is so far from like who he really is. And I'm glad he got to go to a different franchise and had an opportunity to kind of redeem and repair his reputation that was out there.
I think the challenge for us watching a guy like him is that he looks effortless. And we mistake that effortless way he goes about his business.
And you hadn't seen it in the playoffs either.
As lack of intensity, like, no, you're misguided. And that's why you have to like see him,
I know,
like multiple times to appreciate him.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. You don't have a problem with Barkov fourth, right?
For me, I think, again, recency bias. I don't know if I put him that high.
Okay, because I think it's one. He's so good. He's back-to-back Stanley Cup winner, but
that's why you're doing that. But I'm sorry, he's not ahead of Matthews. I know Matthews is a year removed from 69 goals.
Okay,
I know he won 2 cups and he's very good defensively and he's good offensively, but that's how many guys in the history of the game have done that.
Yeah.
Like,
and Matthews doesn't have Bobrovsky.
It's like, let's settle down on the Barkov. He's a really good player. He's top 10. I put him 9 or 10.
Okay. Really?
Yes.
That far down?
Yeah, he's not in the top 5.
He impacts the game though, like the defensive side of things, all of that.
Okay, then
if he wanted to cheat, he could be a 90+ point player every year.
If you today took out Barkov and insert the young player San Jose, Celebrini, they'll have the same impact. Okay. So then if that's the case, you should be talking about where's Celebrini on that list.
He's at 19. The fact that he cracks the top 20, although they have him behind, let me just get there, because you've watched Montreal a little bit. I mean, to round out your top 10, you got, after Matthews, you've got Braden Point, who I love.
Yes.
I would even put him a little higher than, he's so damn good, but top 10 is top 10. Scheifele, Suzuki. Now, Suzuki, is he better than a Jack Hughes or a Robert Thomas?
No.
I would have Robert Thomas ahead of Nick Suzuki.
No, Nick Suzuki is not in the top 10, in my top 10.
So if he played in Carolina, is he 10?
No.
Okay. He had 89 points last year. He careered it. Great season. He's the captain.
He's a really good player. We're nitpicking, but I don't put him in I think he's around 15, 16 for me.
Okay, so let's go to Thomas. You have Jack Hughes, 11, Thomas, 12. Aho, Nishier, Larkin, Stützle, Rupe Hantz at 17, who, when he's on, is unbelievable. Tage Thompson at 18. Celebrini, 19. They got Sam Bennett all the way down at 22, or 20. So
that's where he should be.
Yeah. So it's like, that's your top 20 centers. So if you look at the bottom 10, you like everyone here? Or is there anybody you like more than others?
Oh, I think Stützle deserves to be higher.
He will be.
I don't even know if Tage Thompson is a center. I don't remember him taking faceoffs, but that's fine. What kind of defensive system are they?
He shoots well.
He shoots the puck. I don't see him as a center, but I think Macklin, it's because he's 19 years old that he's
The fact that he's there is
but
something.
I think he's in the top 15. I got him ahead of Dylan Larkin.
What kind of season is Connor Bedard going to have this year, you think?
I think he looks great. I think that the concern for me is what have they done to support him?
Mm-hmm.
Who is he going to play with?
Well, the answer is not much.
So no, he's until they surround him with some players. Like, and you know how it works. You go to play the Chicago Blackhawks. They go over you have your meeting before the game. You circle his name. Be hard on him. Close him quickly.
And he is seeing those matchups, right? Against the top pair and whatnot. Right?
He does no one, you can't hide him. There's no other players. It's like,
and they got Donato,
it's top pair D every time.
Yeah.
And if you want, I would go head to head against him.
Okay, so who does Celebrini have that surrounds him? You know, you got Toffoli and some of these guys, right?
He's got Will Smith.
Yeah.
And he's got
because Bedard will have Nazar, right? But again, we're talking about a guy that's got 50 games in his career and put up 20 points total, 26 points, I think, in his career. So that's what we're talking about. I mean, they thought they were going to help him by bringing in Pat Maroon and some of these other guys and Foligno and all. It just, no, I think some of these signings probably didn't go the way that they were hoping it would go.
Well, who did San Jose sign?
Not that Maroon was brought in.
You've got to go and get guys who can play in the top 6. Guys that are having trouble, you pay them $5 or $6 million. Guys that can fill a hole. Who's the kid that was in Buffalo for years? Never really played the playoffs. Played for Edmonton last year. Loves to do the 10-2.
Oh, Skinner.
You need to get players like that who can play
but you got
in the top
Eklund's
6.
A hell of a player.
Eklund's a really good player.
He just signed a nice deal too.
Yeah,
that's a hell of a contract.
I like him.
I'm looking at the forwards. You know these guys better than I do. For San Jose, but
yeah,
it's not like. I mean,
Cam Lund is going to be a player. He's a right-hand shot. They're hoping Musty can step up and be a guy that can be counted on. Toffoli gets it done. Wenberg, very responsible. Probably sits in a 3-hole if you have a really good team, but very good player. Yeah, and then they have a lot of role guys. Eklund's probably one of the other top guys that they have. And
you think Celebrini makes the Olympic team?
I think it's going to be between Scheifele, Celebrini, and Robert Thomas. I think.
What about the kid from Philly? Yeah, that was there last year, and then they had Jarvis from Carolina.
Yeah, I could see Jarvis getting pushed out.
He didn't have a great Four Nations.
Yeah, I can see him getting pushed out for.
Konechny's a hell of a player too. So I'm not. We're talking about Hockey Canada Olympic team, so it's not anything negative about any of these guys.
Exactly. I think that those are good problems to have, but I think Scheifele's going to get a real look and a real opportunity. I think today, he's ahead.
He's a hell of a player. And again, but do you believe in setting Hockey Canada up for the future?
I think it's incredibly
important
for
Celebrini,
for the experience for those guys. I think they have Byfield's one of those guys as well.
Yeah,
they've got a group of 5 guys. They probably had it on the list. Like, who are the 5 guys up and coming that aren't likely going to make this?
And I think
team,
the roster's bigger than what you find with that Four Nations roster because that was too small of a roster. They had
so now
issues.
It's 25.
Yeah,
yeah. I would. That's why they brought Montembeault.
Yeah,
right. Like he's supposed to be the next guy. So I think it's important that you, instead of bring a veteran goaltender that's probably a little bit better now, bring someone who can be around the experience.
Yeah, and I think in the case of Celebrini, I mean the fact that Crosby is going to be on the team and you're still going to have McKinnon and McDavid, I just think that experience for him. If I'm my career, I'm calling Doug Armstrong and finding a way to hey, let's give this kid an opportunity. I wonder, Crosby gave him a public, little, he was training with Crosby this summer and gave him a vote of confidence publicly. I wonder how involved a Crosby or a McKinnon or a McDavid would get in with the selection when you're talking about the bottom end of the roster. If Doug Armstrong, and it's a question that I'll ask Army, like, does he include those guys when he's rounding out the roster? Probably not.
I would think not. I would think that he does talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
Those conversations happen a little more calculated than players realize, but less formal than you.
Because LeBron James is involved in the basketball. You know what I'm saying?
That's
I
not
know.
What I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm saying they're going to the meal, and Doug might see Crosby and has been thinking, I'm going to seek him out and pull him aside. Hey, what do you think of this Celebrini kid?
Yeah. How'd you think he was?
You think you think he could do it this year?
Yeah, exactly.
That kind of thing. That I think those conversations and that information gathering is part of doing your due diligence.
You probably do that with NHL rosters too, don't you?
I think they do. I think that at the end of the day, these GMs are going to own their decisions, but it's just part of information gathering, right? I think that's part of doing the due diligence. It's nothing that you're saying this player is going to dictate what I'm doing, but they might tell you something surprising that you don't know.
All right, so 2 minutes left. Patrick Kane on Team USA.
Is he at the camp?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Should be.
But do you bring him to the camp if you're really not going to seriously consider him? Like,
I think he's in the mix. I think bringing him is a good sign. A lot of these younger players idolize him.
He's an icon.
Seeing his daily habits is going to be good for these guys to see that he's still doing it at his age.
You've seen him at his prime. You've seen him not. What's the difference? Is it pace?
Yeah. I mean, I think that the guys are more skilled, so his
because
skill
of him,
doesn't jump off the page.
He's influenced all this younger generation to where now, instead of being one of only a handful of guys in the world who can do what he does, now all these kids can come in and have great hands. And
absolutely. So I think that the gap is narrowed. He's still what he is and always has been what he is. But the pace, he's too smart. He'll find ways to still be effective.
I think it would be great to have him on the team. I think the rest of the team would want that too. You know what I mean? I don't. It doesn't mean he has to play every game. Who knows how that would play out? Maybe he wouldn't want that. I don't know if he's that type of guy or not. But you got Clayton Keller, who was left off the team before. I feel like he's going to find his way on. Tage Thompson should find his way on the team as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you had Kreider, who was just okay last time. I don't know if he lands a spot. Kyle Connor didn't even play in the final game, but he's got to be on there. He's one of your most dangerous offensive weapons you have for Team USA. So from a goal scoring standpoint. So yeah, that'll be interesting. I don't think this is an orientation camp. I was talking to Jake Gensel about this. He was on our podcast, and he said, I think this is more about like for media and stuff like that. I don't think they're like evaluating. They're going to do that when the season starts.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head. I think it's more about the anticipation and excitement and creating energy and interest.
Yeah. How about the excitement of getting your tires changed?
Well, I'll tell you what.
You wouldn't think that would be an exciting thing to do.
Well, you know what? It's probably the thing you don't really think about much, but when you need them, they're there. That's the best part about Dobbs is you can, something happens to your vehicle, something happens to your wife's vehicle, you can get in there, they'll get it up, they'll diagnose it, figure out what the issue is, and they'll get it up, fixed, and you'll be out of there in minimum hour and a half.
In, up, out.
Fixed and out. In, up, fixed, and out.
Yeah.
Something like that. Go to Dobbs.com, and that's exactly what they do. And they're not just about tires. Any kind of car, they'll diagnose it. They'll fix what your issues are. And they're very professional. They explain everything to you and to make sure that they make you feel special. That's probably the most
Peace
important
of
thing.
mind.
It's a family business.
Put your head on the pillow every night just feeling comfortable.
Hey, 45 locations.
I love it.
Locally owned.
What's for dinner this weekend?
Well, I'll tell you what. You go to Bartolino's. They got 5 restaurants. Bartolino's South, Bartolino's Austria, Chris's Pancake and Dining. My favorite one, Bartolino's Twin Oaks. Sit at the bar there, a bunch of TVs.
So nice.
Unbelievable atmosphere, great location. And I forgot about Chris's at the Docket, but they forged many lasting relationships over 50 plus years in business. Their family model, cook good food, serve plenty. Only 2 places to dine, at home or at one of Bartolino's family of restaurants.
I love it. And check out the Twin Oaks. They've got those party rooms, too, that are like super, super nice. If you got any type of family event, graduations, all that type of stuff that are coming up, man.
And, buddy, you got to check out my Instagram. It's blowing up. Probably annoying you
my
because
God.
You're like, what's going on?
I am. Hey,
you know what I mean?
It's a no-brainer.
That's exactly it. So check out my Instagram because tomorrow we're finally going to let you know. I know you're hanging on pins and needles.
Pins and needles.
What
Everyone
PLZ
wants
and
to
I are
know.
up to. Don't worry, it's not a podcast.
Well, tell the people that.
It's
people were thinking you guys were doing a podcast.
No, it's about player safety. Read the hashtags. We're about trying to keep players safe and make sure it doesn't matter what age you are. The players are have more, balance and stuff. You'll find out tomorrow on Friday, coming out, unbelievable. But check out my Instagram, Jamal Mayers 22, to find out what it is.
And keeping your players safe is a no-brainer. So check that out.
It's a no-brainer.
Great product coming out, and you got a lot of guys obviously participating in it, which is a lot of fun. I even did one. I haven't seen mine yet. I mean, it's just like they just throw mine out the window.
Well, you didn't make the cut. I gotta say, like it was you or JR. So,
one or the other.
I didn't make that decision. I voted you in.
You did. Okay. And, hey, it's all good. It's all good. Okay, it's a no-brainer though. So check that out. Thanks, man.
Appreciate it.
I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Nathan Walker earlier in the show. I guess we don't need these right now. And then, of course, Jamal Mayers. Always listen through the show to hear from Jamal Mayers, too, because we get in a lot of great different things. He's so insightful, so smart, too. And we touch on everything from youth hockey all the way up to the NHL. Got great opinions and insight on a number of different players. So listen to Jammer throughout the show and throughout the season coming up on Hockey Sense. Lordo's Diamonds, located in the heart of Ladue. Get that special someone something special in your life. And again, nobody has better customer service than Lordo's Diamonds. You got to be kidding me. Mike and Jimmy Lordo, the best in the business. Whether you've got like a $500,000 budget, I mean, if you've got a $500,000 budget, you're doing fine. Or a $500 budget. Or a $250 budget, you're going to get treated exactly the same by Mike and Jimmy Lordo. Nobody has a better selection of engagement rings. So if you're looking to pop the question, get in there and do that today. Right there in the heart of Ladue. Right next to Truffles. 314-432-8008 if you want to give them a call. Make sure you tell them Andy Strickland sent you. Lordo's Diamonds, lordosdiamond.com. They've been around for over 70 years. You got to be kidding me. The Little Blues program is back from First Community. Blues hockey starts soon. What a great time to talk about the Little Blues program presented by First Community. Hey, the St. Louis Blues, they offer a low-cost, learn-to-play program that allows kids to experience hockey for the first time. My son did it. That's how he got his start, Little Blues. So many other kids got their start in Little Blues as well. It's an introductory program, ages 4 through 9 for those of kids who have never played organized hockey before. So if you haven't participated in organized youth hockey and you're between the ages of 4 and 9, come on out. If you can't skate, or if you feel like, oh my God, I don't know how to skate, it doesn't matter. It's for everybody, and everybody will be helped out, and obviously, get you on your feet and get you moving, and most importantly, get you to fall in love with the game. The summer session just wrapped up. They've got lots of unbelievable programs and different, timetables that you can sign up for, different sessions. I guess that's the word I'm looking for, that you can sign your son or daughter up for. They just had the graduation ceremony. Jamal Mayers was down there for the graduation ceremony down at the Enterprise Center. So First Community, really proud to present this great program. Check it out. It's a great way to get started in hockey. Also on the Blues website right now, you can vote for the St. Louis Blues Hall of Fame. That is also presented by our friends at First Community. Nobody gives back to hockey in our town more and better than First Community. So go to the Blues website, submit your votes. Nothing, never a wrong vote. And they give you a bunch of the options there. So you don't have to do a bunch of research and start thinking about who you want to see get into the Blues Hall of Fame. But give it some thought and submit your votes and do it today on the Blues website. We thank all our sponsors, Blue Note Roofing, 314-920-5713. Call David Novak today for all your roofing needs, sidings, gutters, soffit, fascia, whatever it is you're looking for. You have wind damage, hail damage, any other type of storm damage, they'll come over and give you that free estimate. They work with all the major insurance companies as well. We mentioned Frontenac Detailing right there next to or inside the Honda Frontenac dealership. They do everything. The ceramic coating, wheels, if you got holes in your seats, little dents all over the car. What about a little crack in your windshield? They can take that out too. I mean, over 200 5-star reviews already since we've been doing this show on the internet. So check that out. Frontenac Detailing. Look them up and tell them we sent you from Hockey Sense, live from the Half Coast Studios, brought to you by First Community. So get on that and get on that today. And of course, all our friends over there, Cross Country Mortgage. Call my buddy Mark Cooper. Call him today, 314-713-4377. If you're a first responder, if you're injured in the line of duty, if you're killed in the line of duty, your mortgage is covered up to $525,000. An incredible program. Doctors, up to $1 million. No money down, no PMI. Just some incredible programs. Again, Mark Cooper, 314-713-4377. I hope you enjoyed this edition of Hockey Sense. Each and every week we do this, we're 1 week closer to the NHL season. Have a great weekend, everybody. Have a great holiday weekend. Always tune in to the Cam and Strick podcast. We've got some great episodes coming for you soon, including some blues people, which I know you're going to enjoy. Some great, great conversations on the Cam and Strick podcast. So thanks for all your support. See ya.